100.9 The Farm. It's 9:23. I love it when artists come from Nashville to perform live in our studio, especially on a day like today. We really appreciate it because the weather is miserable.
Yeah, they drove through some nasty rain.
I'm sure it was a tough drive. Susan Ashton, good morning. How are you, sister?
Good morning. I'm awake.
No, you're right on time.
I'm not wet from the rain anymore.
You're good to go.
That's good.
I know.
Let's talk about growing up in Texas.
Yes.
You signed your first record deal at how old? Were you a teenager?
I was not a teenager. I mean, this isn't young by today's standards, but I was like 20.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that was with a contemporary Christian label?
Sparrow Records.
No kidding. And you went on to have, 14 number one contemporary Christian songs?
I did.
That's big time. So what made you think, okay, now it's time to try country music? Because you went on the road with Garth.
I did. That was actually while I was doing Christian music. But starting about the time I made my second record, country artists started asking me to do stuff with them.
Wow.
Like Martina McBride cut a song that I wrote and brought me in to do background vocals on it.
Nice.
Patty Loveless had me do background vocals on her record. I did a duet with Billy Dean and Colin Ray, and then Garth asked me to open for him over in Europe and the UK. So there was a real natural progression there. So after I made the last record that I made for Sparrow, which was, I think I did my last tour for them in 97, the man who signed me, Peter York, called me and he was like, well, what do you think is next? And I said, I don't really know. And he goes, well, you seem to have a very natural relationship with country music.
Yeah.
And he knew, me being from Texas, that I love country music. So he was like, do you think there'd be something there? And I said, I don't know. And Bob Doyle, Garth's manager, had become a good friend and a supporter, and he had a publishing company. And so he said, why don't we just try to see what happens naturally? Mm-hmm. And so he had me start singing some demos for him. And he started getting phone calls from people, saying, who's that girl singing this song? And it was just a natural progression. And Pat Quigley called me in for a meeting and then offered me a deal to sign with Capitol.
Wow. Craziness. So, what was it like being on the road with Garth? I mean, you're playing in front of 20,000 people every single night. That had to get crazy at times.
It was awesome. Over there, the crowds were not quite as large as the crowds were here. Still big crowds,
I'm sure.
and great crowds. But it was just, it's the opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah.
So much fun. Everything was first class. And, his philosophy was we work really hard, so we need to have fun.
Yep.
So have fun. If there's anything you need that we can help with, let us know. So, it was definitely the biggest thing I've ever done and also the easiest thing.
And then when the 90s were wrapping up, you decided to take some time off, didn't you?
Sort of. Well, so I signed with Capitol in 98. My first record for them came out, and then I had one single off of that did okay. And then we spent 3 years making another record and way too much money that never came out, that no one will ever hear. So it sits quietly in a vault.
Wow.
I know. And there's some stuff on there that I really, really liked, but we kind of just couldn't come to agreement on a direction. So I left them in 2003. And in the time period from when I signed with them to leaving them, I got divorced and my life just really got turned upside down. I lost everything. And I felt like the worst thing that I could do would be to go try to get another deal. I felt like I needed to just be still and let the dust settle and get my head square.
Yeah.
And so I checked out of the music business and I went and became a nanny for 7 years.
No kidding.
I really did. I started with this family that had a little boy who was 2 and their little girl was 6 months old, and I was with them for 7 years.
Wow.
And it was very humbling, but it was also the right thing. Those kids were a really big part of healing me and helping me find my direction again. And then about 4 years ago, I moved out to the country and I got another horse for the first time since I'd been a kid and started shoveling a lot of poop and fixing fences.
I do a lot of that around here.
Yeah, that's a lot like life anyway.
In this room.
But right. So, and in the process of all of that, I started getting song ideas again. And I started writing them. And then this is the major nutshell version, but I got to go in the studio last year and record this EP. And so now I'm here playing music for you and hoping people like it.
Are you living in Texas or Nashville?
I live outside of Nashville.
Okay.
I mean, I've been there for a long time, so this is technically home.
By the way, the EP is called Thief. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. Susan Ashton is live in the studio with us this morning. She's got her guitar player, Jesse. You guys want to do a song for us?
Absolutely.
What you going to do?
This is a song that I wrote with my producer, Wayne Kirkpatrick, and my good friend, Gordon Kennedy. Gordon is an amazing guitar player and songwriter. He and Wayne wrote Change the World for Eric Clapton, and they worked with Garth on all the Chris Gaines stuff.
Nice.
So it was awesome to get to write this song with them. It's called Moonshine.
All right, Moonshine. It's on the new EP from Susan Ashton. Let's turn her loose live this morning. 100.9 The Farm.
There it is again, tempting refrain, whispering, wooing me, soothing me, singing my name. Here I go again, moth to a flame, pushing me, pulling me, loving me into these chains. It's charming, enchanting, a mystical sight. There on the surface, it all feels alright. At the end of the day, it's just borrowed light. There's a dark side to the moonshine. Love at first sight, easy on the eyes, appealing but slowly revealing the truth where it lies, making believe like it's the one. It shimmers and shines and it's trying, but it's not the sun. It's charming, enchanting, a mystical sight. There on the surface, it all feels alright. At the end of the day, it's just borrowed light. There's a dark side to the moonshine. It's charming, enchanting, a mystical sight. There on the surface, it all feels alright. At the end of the day, it's just borrowed light. There's a dark side. There's a dark side to the moonshine.
Very impressive. Susan Ashton.
Wow.
100.9 The Farm. It's called Moonshine. It's on the new EP Thief. You co-wrote that?
I did.
Very haunting song.
Yes, it is.
I
It's
like
a little
that.
scary.
Where'd you find this guitar player? He's pretty doggone good, isn't he?
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, and he has a great story too. It's my manager connected us like 3 days before we started the radio tour. He had mentioned him to me before, but Jesse was out doing stuff and he wasn't available. And so he's like, "Hey, there's this great guitar player that's come up that might be perfect for what you're doing." So we met on a Friday, we rehearsed on a Sunday, and we went on the road Monday.
Oh, man.
Yeah, trial by
And that's
fire.
how it goes.
I'd
Trial by fire.
say that's right.
Doing pretty good.
You got
Right?